And we are live. Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesday. We are just like a minute early, but we are anxious to start this great series, Wealth Building Wednesday. Hi, I'm Sheila Cohoon, and I am from Remax First. I'm a real estate agent in Michigan. And here today and every Wednesday, we have Kate DiLiddo, and she is the EQ coach. And so, Kate, can you share a little bit about yourself and then what is EQ coach?
Okay, absolutely. Well, first I'll start with the money EQ coach,
Mhm.
because, you probably want to know what that is first. EQ is emotional quotient. And I was actually in the financial industry for 25 plus years in all different capacities.
Mm,
And what I saw over all of that time is that people's financial choices are very rooted in their emotional decisions, right? So,
mm.
whether it's instant gratification or fear or whatever it is, but it is rooted in your emotions. So, emotional quotient. So, I'm a money emotional quotient coach. And
Wow.
yes, so having been in the industry in all different capacities,
Mhm.
I just a little bit about me, because I do believe that if you're going to take any information at all from anyone, you should know the source.
Right.
Um, I retired in 2020 before the age of 50, and was the director of operations and compliance for a fiduciary based firm. And in our future wealth building Wednesdays, we'll talk about what all that means. But but um, suffice it to say, I've seen a lot, done a lot in the financial world. And now my mission is really to help people take the confusing and scary out of personal finance. My mission is to coach and educate people to be able to make great financial decisions for themselves.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
really, you and I met last week, and I reached out to you because I was questioning, the whole Dave Ramsey series
yeah,
and just financial stability and things like that. Because I've
yeah.
seen in my real estate business a lot of times, especially in the younger generation, the fact that they don't know how to build wealth. And honestly,
Correct.
I didn't learn it until much later in life, or begin to learn it much later in life. So, and they're not teaching it in schools, obviously.
They're really
So
not.
right. So I really wanted, after talking last week, I really thought that instead of like me learning stuff, I thought, well, you have this great knowledge and
Sure.
I can't have it. But you have it. And I thought that we could share that with people, to, possibly have you help them, or at least, the tips that you provide to them, they could start to begin to build that wealth for themselves. Obviously it takes time. It's not an overnight process, but I'm just so grateful that you said yes to this, and that we are doing this right
Of
now, and
course.
that I'm hoping that many people find at least nuggets that they can make changes to in their everyday lives to help
Right.
them build the wealth. So,
Yeah.
with
Absolutely.
yeah, with
Absolutely.
that, let's get started on today's session. And that session is about budget and net worth. So,
Mhm.
the first thing that we're going to talk about, and this is really in all aspects of everyday, like when you're trying to make a change in your life, right? Whether
Yeah,
it be eating differently, or exercising, or business, or whatever, you have to have the first thing you have to have is a mindset shift, right? So,
absolutely.
so can you share a little bit about that?
Definitely. One of the biggest things around mindset is recognizing where you're currently at, your current mindset, and how you're making choices. And exactly like you said, Sheila, whether it's around the D word, diet, or um, whatever new habit you want to build, you have to shift your mindset first, because otherwise you'll go through all this work, but you will default to what's comfortable and what is known, right? So
Right.
if you are in a mindset of, I can't save money, or I don't know how it works, or I've never been good with numbers. That has to shift first. So really the way to do that is to start recognizing those thoughts, your thought patterns, right? So your mindset and your relationship with money really roots way back to childhood, to all sorts of different things. And that's a whole hour conversation. That,
Yeah,
and
unravel.
it's a whole thing.
Very
But
therapy
really, what you
session.
want to do is acknowledge where you're at and then begin to make the shift. Replace your negative thought patterns around money, or, like I said, whatever it is, with more positive thought patterns. So if you're thinking to yourself, I've never been good with money, or I don't have enough to save, I bet you do. We just have to find it. Um, you have to start shifting that to more positive thoughts, like I'm learning every day. I'm working towards building my financial future. I'm setting up a strong foundation. I will get there. It's going to take time, and the D word, discipline, which everybody loves, right? Because
My word of the
we
year. My word
love
of the year.
instant gratification in this world we live in today. But
Yeah.
really, those who succeed have discipline to work at small steps every day. So just taking the first steps of identifying the thought process, and really rewiring your brain. And it's called neuroplasticity. I've done a ton of research on it because it's fascinating to me. You can rewire your brain to be more positive going forward in your life on any
Yeah.
topic, right? And once you
Yep.
start with one, you'll find it working with others. So when you start to remove the bad thoughts or catch them and replace them with a positive thought, then things become more easy, more fun, actually. That's why I talk about turning your budget, and we'll talk more about that, into a strategy. Nobody wants a budget, right? You set up a budget, that's like setting up a diet for me.
Right.
I give you a week on your budget and you're done. That's like
Right.
telling me I can't eat carbs. I
Exactly.
love carbs. I believe they make the world go round. So really what you need to do is think about, okay, what's my strategy and what's the end goal? And then shift your mindset. So the mindset shift goes from, okay, this budget, which nobody wants to deal with, right? And it feels very limiting, to a strategy of knowing where your money's going and how it's working for you. So there's a shift in that. When you have a strategy, your brain says, okay, well, this coffee today or this shirt at Target or whatever it is,
Right.
does that fit in my strategy?
Mm,
Right? And then you make a
mhm.
choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because what you're choosing is your future financial success or instant gratification right now. Because how many times have we gone, oh, I want this, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Oh,
And
that
it's
looks
an impulse buy.
beautiful. Yeah.
And then you get home and you go, it doesn't fit right, or I didn't really like it anyway. And it's not really right? Now you
Yep.
got to return it, which I happen to know lots of people don't even do that. So it's like, it's one of those things where you got to shift the mindset to a more positive, I'm doing this for myself and for my future, right?
And doing that strategy, gives you that pause, right? Because they always say,
It
"Pause
does.
before you make a decision," because
Mhm.
it gives you
Right.
time to think instead of making that instant gratification decision like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it." You
Mhm.
need to pause and think about your strategy. So that makes
100%.
perfect sense. And the one thing I
100%.
did find when I was changing my mindset, and like I said, it's not an overnight thing,
No.
is you begin to so you what'll happen is you'll think about this strategy thing. Okay. You might not realize it in the first 15 or 20 minutes, right? Or
Right.
maybe in the first day. Okay. But at some point you'll be like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't think of that." And so each time that happens where you're thinking about that strategy, the time between that will get less and less and
Yes.
less and less and less. It's
Correct.
it's it's actually a process in
It
order
is.
to do that, to
It's a
change that
practice.
mindset shift. Yes.
It's
It's
practice. It's
yes.
like learning a sport. or yoga or what, whatever you want to fill in there.
Yep.
Steve Eiserman wasn't great at hitting the net when he first picked up the stick, right?
Right.
So it's practice.
And
And
everybody,
then it becomes to be second nature to you.
but everybody can't. Like, for people to say they can't save money, or I don't make
Everyone.
enough or whatever, like that is already a negative statement. Like,
Correct.
every single person can do this. Every single person. Every
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. The key is knowing what you have coming in and knowing what you have going out and where
Mm,
it's been going so that you can, if you don't know, you can't make good choices. Right.
right.
And I do tell people, draw the line in the sand, figure out this is the first step I do with all clients, all courses, all everything. We start with the beginning, right? We have to know where you are to be able to figure out the strategy to get where you want to go. So that leads us right into the worksheets, right?
Right.
It's the
I do
whole
have a question though. So strategy and goal, are they the same thing?
Well, no, because the goal is going to be ultimately what you want to achieve,
Mhm.
whether that's having an emergency fund, saving for retirement, and everybody has multiple goals, right?
Right.
So putting the strategy together is saying, okay, I'm going to have every single dollar work for me the best that I can,
So
right?
the
And
strategy is the step by
it
step.
is the step by step.
Okay.
It's the cutting
Process.
back on this to save towards that. It's paying down the debt or paying off your house or however
Okay.
your strategy, and everybody's is different,
Okay.
um, to move forward. Some people are super comfortable investing in the market, and some people go, "Ooh, not my thing." Right? So there's a mazillion variables to that, right?
Right.
Everybody's it's like your fingerprint. Everybody's emotional connection to money and how risk adverse they are, or um, their ability to replace funds if they're lost or whatever. All of it is very individual. So that's why it's putting together your own personal strategy. What works for one isn't going to work for another. And just quickly, you mentioned Dave Ramsey.
Mhm.
And while I think he's done absolutely fabulous things for a lot of people, I do feel like there are other ways. So
Okay.
um, he tends to be very strict and do this, and do this, where I feel like you need to have an element of feeling success and fun and something to look forward to in your strategy as well. Your plan to get from A to Z doesn't have to be miserable, right? It,
Yeah.
it not all of it's going to be fun necessarily, but it doesn't have to be absolutely miserable. So
Well, and
just my
discipline,
thoughts.
I mean, you got here because it was easy. Now you have to do the work, right? And
Right,
that is discipline. So,
right.
easy isn't always a good thing. So that's what I
No,
always tell my son.
right.
So let's talk about the budget sheet, because you had
Okay.
brought that up. Let's talk about the budget sheet that that you're gonna be able to give them a link to get. So
Yes.
do you want me to bring that up right now?
Sure.
Okay.
I will grab the link over here. Oh, you know what? I changed the link. So I'm going to have to redo that in a second. I will pop that in the comments in a moment. But okay, so this is just one of the pages of the downloadable, I guess, worksheets that you will be able to get a hold of. And what it is putting together and your budget and your net worth and drawing that line in the sand. I do want to spend a couple of minutes talking about how to fill this out because I find when people fill it out and clients that I work with one-on-one send it back to me, it's haphazard. Some stuff's done, some's not. So first of all, we all know garbage in, garbage out, right? So
Right.
make sure that if you're going to do this and put this together for yourself, really understand when you sit down to do it that it's not fun. Let's just get that out of the way. It's really not fun. Nobody wants to see where all of their money goes to cable and this, that, and the other, and whatever. It's really not fun. But what I'm hoping it will do is make you more aware of how much is going out versus what's coming in, because you'll see at the top of this, it does say income,
Mhm.
right? So what the goal is to see in its entirety where your money's been going. So when you're filling this out, it is not to say, okay, this is what I want to spend in the future. This is the first step, is to see where it has been going. So my recommendation is to take a look back at the last month or 3 months and average those numbers and plop them in there. Really, it is important to go back and look at your bank statements, credit card statements, however you pay bills, spend money, things like that. And account for the cash too, because that, it's just the same as money.
Right.
so, just,
Right. Yeah.
so you need to make sure that you see where your funds are going. If you can't identify that, which some people cannot because it's just all over the place, then for a month, track everything. And like I said, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you're struggling with this, just write down, grab a good old plain old paper
Mhm.
and write out all of these columns, and then the last 3 months, and then average them out, and then plop the numbers in there, right?
Right.
And then ultimately what you're going to find is you will have income coming in and funds going out. Now, some of those funds are never going to change, right? You're always, well,
Right.
not always, but probably likely at this point have a house payment or insurance payments and things like that. Those don't change a whole lot, right?
Mhm.
Um, but things are variable, like groceries, gas, things like that. So just keep an eye on the variable ones and kind of make a side note to yourself. If you think, oh, yeah, this month I've spent a lot on groceries, then maybe the last 2 months. But is that a trend? And really just think about that and be honest with yourself, because this isn't coming back to me or to Sheila or anybody else. This is strictly
Right.
for you,
Right.
to be able to jot down and take a look at where you stand. So when you fill all of this out, and there is a section for the budget, there's a section for debt, like credit cards and that sort of thing, and then there's a net worth. And the net worth is really going to be impactful as you move forward and build your strategy to be the measurement, right? Because as
Mhm.
you pay down debts and save, whether that's an emergency fund or towards retirement or what have you, you should see your net worth grow over time.
Right.
That would be the goal.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Questions on that?
That
Yeah.
is a lot, but when you write things down, and again, going back to the whole diet thing, when you write things down, it holds you accountable, and that's
Yeah.
really kind of what this creating your budget does,
Mm-hmm.
is it holds you accountable to see the expenses that are going out. Same thing if you were looking at your time management, like how much time you spend on social media and things. But
Absolutely.
if you write it all down, you're like, "Well, I'm really not that busy," you know?
Right.
So yeah, this is really, really beneficial.
It's crazy. Okay.
So
So,
they are gonna do this, they're gonna do it one time, right? This just personal financial statement will be one time, or is this something they do every month?
well, what I would do is I would set this up. This isn't set up to be a tracker, that we have those too, but this is your initial, let's take a draw the line in the sand, plant the flag, however you want to put it. But this
Mhm.
is how you're going to establish your starting point. And on a side note, Sheila, I put in the private chat, because it won't let me put in the comments, the link.
Oh,
Um,
okay. We will get that link to you in the comments of this video. So, if you're looking at this at a later time, in the comments will be the link to her, to the actual budget sheet that you can use.
yep,
So just sign up for that and get that. That's a free thing Kate's giving out today. So
yep, absolutely.
perfect, perfect.
So with these sheets, ultimately, you can do it every month. You can track by this every month. You can estimate out over time, however you want to use it. I do have different trackers that we have set up, that's a whole other day. But this certainly can work to do that. The goal really with this is the first look, the snapshot at where are you now? And then the next conversation is how do we get to where you want to go? What is the strategy? Once you get this put together, then you want to take a look at, where is your money going? And be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, oh, well, last month my, eating out was a little high because of this. If you think that's the case, then go the month before and look at it, right? So a lot of people go, oh, December, I spent so much in December. Oh, but November was a lot too. And October could be. And is it a trend, or is it really just that one month? So challenge yourself. I feel like this is for most people, they go, the budget, no. And I put the B word on there because at this point it is the B word, right? We
Right.
haven't created the strategy yet. So
And let's be honest, like, if you don't do this, then you might as well not do it, right?
100%. And if you're not going to be accurate with your numbers
Right.
that you put in here,
Mhm.
that only you are going to see,
Right?
and if you're not going to be honest with yourself there, then
You might as well not do it.
don't
I
even
mean,
bother.
and that's not being mean to people, like, people have to stop thinking like, "Oh, that's mean." That's not being mean. What that is doing is holding you accountable. Like, you have got to just reflect and say, "Listen, I got here. I gotta fix it, and this is the way to do it."
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's in fact, it's a good thing. People have to stop thinking like, "Oh, I screwed up. I screwed up. It's a bad thing." No, you actually taking that first step. Just
It's
like
a
if you were
great
gonna
thing.
take that first step on a mile walk every day. It's that first
Mhm.
step that actually counts.
It's I also spend time with clients talking about, how they've gotten to where they are, right?
Mhm.
Because if that's not addressed, you're you're going to get back there, right?
Yep,
It's like
100%.
if you have bad money habits and then you spend the time and the effort and the energy to fix them without spending the time to talk about how you got to where you are,
Yep,
you will find yourself back there.
yep.
I have many clients who have said to me, "Oh, absolutely. I've gotten myself out of debt, and I've built up, you know, emergency fund and retirement fund and da da da. And then I got myself right back in it." And it
Mhm.
happens for all sorts of reasons, but understand that. So we also address, how did you get here? Because um, it's hugely important
Yeah.
to overcome that and be able to say, okay, you know what? You can only make choices with the information